Hi, thanks for checking out the channel here. This is going to be possibly a how-to repair video on this particular scales. Tru-Test Ezi W2. They made an Ezi W1, 2, and 3, I believe. They don't make a lot of parts for this model anymore, so if it's just can't get it fixed, it's just junk. You know, that's the bad thing about it. Now the problem with the scale, let me look at the note again. Oh, let's see here. So the battery shows full, but will turn off after about 3 or 4 minutes. But it will work with their AC adapter, so that's a good thing. So it means that unless the board's got some kind of weird issue, probably the battery is probably what's bad in this. And Tru-Test themselves don't sell a battery anymore for this, so you can't call them up to order a battery. And the biggest trouble I've had, I've got a battery here for it, so we're going to install this battery in this thing. The connector, I believe, is different on this battery than what's in there, so we'll have to cut and splice and solder heat shrink the battery into this thing. Another problem that we run into is people will lose their charge cable, you know, either whether it's AC or the DC version, they'll lose this thing. These are really hard to find. These connectors, you would think, oh, I can find these all over the place. I can find them, like Mauser and Amazon. I even found one on Amazon. No, it was a 6-pin version, I think. But they're like between $40 and $60, $80 for just this. I think because they're not used that much anymore, and they're all metal. Maybe they're just, I think, oh, they're rare, so it's charging more. So if you ever lose this, man, don't lose it. But there is a way to still charge it. You won't be able to do it externally, like on this. You have to do it a different way, and you'd have to send it to a guy like me to do it, because I can't explain how to do it. So it's a lot of finagling around and getting rid of this, or discard this, leave it there and put some other connector in there and do it that way. But God, it's such a nightmare. I'll show you the inside of this thing, but first, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, if you haven't, we'd appreciate that. If you'd like to hit the thumbs up button, we'd appreciate that more than anything. There's information. We mostly work on electric fence chargers, but we work on cattle scales and low bars for mostly Gallagher and Tru-Test as well as other brands. But those are the two primary brands of scales that we work on the low bars and the weight scales indicators. But we also do, not a lot, but we do work on the EID tag readers for the Gallagher units. So if you got a need for that, we'll be happy to help you out with that as well. But a lot of these old gray scales by Tru-Test, whether the great big ones or the little gray ones like this, the board shot thing, sorry, we can't fix it. You're going to have to pull the trigger and buy a new scale. So unless it's some kind of battery problem, then we'll be able to do that. But probably, the board's got a weird software glitch in it or something. Tru-Test stopped making parts of these probably 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago, probably. Good scales. Just, they don't support them forever. It's like anything. You can't get aftermarket stuff, aftermarket boards for them. They're made by them in the house. So we're going to pull this front cover off. You're going to be a little careful, because you got this little ribbon cable right there. Don't freaking break it. You should be able to lift straight up and pull that out of there. Alright. Well, here's the battery in there. 2007. So, original battery to it, I'm guessing. Let's look at the two connectors. I think they are different. Yep, they are different. The connectors, this is the factory one. This is the one that's on this one. It's just got a different shape to it, so they don't plug in the same way. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to take the wires off of this and put them on this one. So this is way long. We don't need all that length there. And you don't want to, because this battery does have charge in it, so we have to be a little careful that we don't touch them together. And then this one probably doesn't have much charge in it, but we're going to cut it as long as we can. So we're going to cut it down here. Just do one wire at a time. So if you cut both of them at the same time, I've done it before on accident, not thinking sparks flew because the charge was still built up. And it didn't hurt anything; it just scares you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to solder and heat shrink. We're going to do one wire at a time. Let's see. Probably use red and black, but if we got to use green or yellow, we'll use green or yellow. Let's go size bigger. I don't like this kind of tight for space. So we'll do this yellow one right here. I think it's a little bit bigger. Because once you solder them together, it's kind of makes it a little wider. We might even have to go the green one. But we'll see. I think we'll just use the green one. Because I think the green one will shrink down enough that we can still make it tight around the solder joint. So we'll just use the green one. Why are strippers at? Just freaking had them earlier. Working on some other stuff, and oh, there they are, right there, hiding underneath all this other crap on my bench. All right, we're gonna do one wire at a time, because if I strip back both wires on the batteries, a chance they could touch and sparks would fly, and I just don't want to deal with that. So we'll twist the wires up because looks like they're stranded. We're going to cut it in half. Should be more than plenty. We'll slide it. This wire's longer. It looks like this one's longer, so we'll slide it down here. That way it's further away from the heat of the solder, and it won't accidentally start pre-heat shrinking, and I don't want it to. So we're going to tin both wires. We'll solder each one. And then we'll heat them both up. Oh God, it's hot. Whew. And then we'll go ahead and we'll slide this down over all of that. Come on. And then I'll go ahead and, I'm not going to heat it up yet. We'll do that here in a minute. Let's do it all at once. And then we'll that one, twist it up. We'll do that one. Where's that other piece of green heat shrink at? There it is. Slide it down, and then we'll heat them both up together, line them up, and then heat them up and hold it steady so that it's not a cold solder joint. Make sure it stays stable. Slide that up like that. Get the heat gun out. Like somebody's done some kind of work to it up here. One time, like they use electrical tape versus heat shrink. Let's take the plastic off this thing. I don't need it on there anymore. Alright, let's plug this in. Come on. Plug it in wrong. Yeah, it only plugs in one way. It's got a kind of a one-way deal on there. Alright, and then we're going to plug this back in, make sure it's clean. Come on, get it there. I think it's in all the way. Let's push the on button, see if it actually comes on. It comes on. Let's leave it on. It won't show anything but dashes because there's no low bars plugged into it. Let's put the battery in this little kind of groove it sits in. Make sure that the wires get tucked up out of the way of any of the screw holes. So I think, I don't know what it's going to do. Hopefully it stays on. I don't have any low bars hooked up to it to simulate anything. Actually, I might. Hold on. If it shuts off, we'll turn it back on here in a second. But it might, after a few moments, it might shut itself off just because nothing's hooked up to it. I don't know. Don't get these little ones in for repair that often. I've got a set of cells here, cables, whatever, for a Gallagher deal. Let's just leave it alone. Since it is staying on, let's just leave it alone. I'm not going to hook up anything to it. Alright, so far so good. Staying on. I said note 3 to 4 minutes it would shut off, so let's let it sit there and run for, just let it stay on while we're putting the screws back in it. That'll waste some time while we're waiting. Please still be turned on. Yes. All right, so far so good. So it might have just needed a new battery. You know, look at this battery. It's from 2007. I think they do their month and year and everything backwards. So I think it's November 22nd of 2007. I don't know how long it's been. Probably been at least 2-3 minutes, and it said 3 to 4. So we'll wait another minute or two. Make sure it still stays turned on. But anyways, we'll probably call this unit done. But if you got one of these old things, send it in here. We'll take a look at it. I mean, it's a free quote, you know, free once over on. If we can fix it, great. We will. If we can't fix it, hey, you don't owe us anything. We're trying. The website's cattlescalerepair.com. But we also work on electric fence boxes of every brand you can ever think of. Even the old stuff from the 50s and 60s and 70s. We'll work on that stuff too. Fencerfixer.com's the website for that. But you can call, text, email me, you know, whatever you want. If you're kind of thinking like, well, what's a new one cost of a scale for one of these? If you just want basic scale for the Tru-Test, the S3 is what's out there now. They're about $700, give or take. The only other thing you could do is you could switch brands. You could go Gallagher, use one of their scales. Like the WO scale, which is the base model. They're about the same price, $650, $700 for those. They will work with the Tru-Test low bars. They're the same type of connectors that they use. They may be a different brand of connector, but the pinout's the same, basically. And the only thing you have to do sometimes when you use a Gallagher indicator on a Tru-Test low bar is you have to recalibrate the Gallagher scale. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but most times you do. But sometimes they'll have a preset calibration in there that the scale will know when the low bar is plugged into it, what low bar is plugged into me, because each low bar model, there's a resistor inside the connector. They use that as like a signal, and the scale sees that resistor, sees what size it is, like, oh, that's what it is, that's what's plugged in me, so now I'm going to use this calibration set. But a lot of the older Gallagher scales, you had to calibrate the scales because it would work with it, but it wouldn't weigh it right, so then you had to calibrate the scale to that low bar. But then if you switch that scale back to a Gallagher low bar, then you had to recalibrate it because it didn't store that stuff, it didn't save it. If you kept it on that one all the time, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. Once you calibrate it, it's done, and you're fine. But I think the scale's good. I mean, we'll turn it off, turn it back on. Yeah, I think we're good. It stayed on. We've been jabbering along here for 20 minutes now, but I think it's been, 5-10 minutes since we put the battery in there and turned it on and everything, so I think we're good to go. So we'll call this unit done. We'll call the customer, give them a quote. You know, it's going to be, tenth the price of what the new one costs, you know, or less than that, probably. Yeah, less than that, probably. But anyways, if you got any questions, get a hold of us. You can comment down below. You can email me, call me, text me, whatever. You know, tell your friends about us. We're a mom and pop company. All we do is work on stuff. We do occasionally sell some stuff here and there, not a lot. We're about 95% repairs and like 5% selling something. So, but if you have one of these and we can't fix it, you know, if you want us to get you a new one, we can. We can sell you a new one if you want. Or if you're thinking about what scale should I buy, call us up. We'll help you out with that too. There's all kinds of stuff out there, good and bad. So, but anyways, until next time, we'll see you guys later on. Have a good rest of your day or evening, whatever time of the day it is. And we'll help you troubleshoot stuff. If you got more questions, get a hold of us. And we'll see you later on.